Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Jopra Show. Yours truly, Joe Gino, in the house. And I'd like to welcome you at 1150 KKNW on the AM dial. And it's Thursday, people. And, man, I got a great show in today. I got my main man, Jerry Brewer from the Seattle Times, going to get real with us today. And, of course, the queen, Lisa Martin's in the house. And Lisa and I are going to talk a little bit about fall, dating, and finding your snuggle bunny. So we got a lot going on today, but first and foremost, I got to introduce my boy here, man, Eric Ryder. What's up, Eric?
Hey, good afternoon, Joe. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. You know, Eric, I got the green light this weekend at my house to
green lights are usually good things.
take down the backyard. And let me tell you this.
Did you want to take down the backyard?
I have been asking my wife for about, a year. I said, we need to restructure the backyard. And, she does a lot of work. We got a nice backyard, but it just wasn't where I wanted it. And so all of a sudden she said, well, do whatever you want to do. And 4 hours later, and you know how this goes, Jerry, you're married, you know how that goes. You get the green light, you got to go all in. And so I had saw, picks, 2 shovels, and if I could have got an axe, I would have took down a bigger tree. But I was there 4 hours. I filled up 4 garbage cans, big bags. My daughter was just like, with the big eyes, like, what is Dad doing to our yard? I mean, there's dirt everywhere, but I tell you, though, it felt so good. I had a good cleanse. So, now she's like, said, well, now what are you going to do? The deck, man. I'm going to take that deck out this weekend. She doesn't know it yet. If she's not listening, the deck is going down. Because I got a chainsaw.
I just hope you've got some kind of master plan and you're not just,
all of a sudden it's gone.
Sometimes it just got to go. It's just time, right? When you do the cleanse of the basement, it's just all got to go.
Time to change.
Change is good. Change is good. So, that's that was how my weekend was. I went to a chance to go see DJ Skrillex at Bumper Shoot. The line was down the street, so I didn't get in. But, man, that guy put 18,000 people in the Key Arena, and for an hour and a half put on a hell of a show. Just mixing up a whole bunch of house music. I mean, things have changed. I mean, back in the day, I saw DJ Jazzy Jeff in like a little basement at Club Mo's, just getting real with all of us, throwing some old school. And now, man, it's like, my 10-year-old's like, I want to go see DJ Skrillex. I mean, music's come a long way. I mean, Jerry, you're old school. You listen to a little R&B.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I go into soul.
Right?
Nobody does soul music anymore.
Nobody does soul music. And, speaking of that, at the Bumper Shoot, Lee Fields and the brass experience, or the experience was in, and they were getting pretty soulful. I mean, that boy's like about 55 years old, Southern man, and he was getting down.
That's a good thing about Bumper Shoot. You got a nice mix of stuff.
Oh, it was great. It was a great crowd. Lots of good people running around. But, man, I wanted some more soul. I mean, I saw Mary J. Blige here a couple years ago, and I was thinking, like, where's some more soul? What's happening? I mean, the Rebirth brass band was in, and that was good, sort of Mardi Gras, Southern, get down. But I was looking for some soul. I needed like Aretha or somebody. I mean, more soul. We got to have some more soul at the Bumper Shoot. But DJ Skrillex, I gave it up to him, man. 18,000 people, made his $100,000, and he went home in a mint. So that's how he do it. So, folks, coming up today on the Jopra Show, man, I got a great guy in. Lucky to have him. He's busy. He's got a 14-week-old baby. He's on radio, 950 KJR. He's all over the place. Writes for the Seattle Times. I got Jerry Brewer in the house. Welcome, Jerry. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Man.
2 of my favorite people that I never get to see, you and Lisa.
We got the green light from the wife. She said, you can have her for 30 minutes. So we're just going to go to work like that. Well, Jerry, we got to talk a little sports because that's what we do with you, man. And I thank you for coming on the show. And let's get to the chase real quick. The thing about your article about Mike Leach, Washington State University, the infatuation. I love the article. But really, is Mike Leach bringing this much excitement to Wazoo nationally also? I mean, is he that big?
He's making them nationally relevant. Mike Leach is one of those guys that is kind of famous for odd reasons. It's not like he's ever won or competed for a national championship, but
right.
he very well might be the most well-known coach in America not named Nick Saban or Les Miles, college football coach.
Wow.
And that's pretty crazy to think
That is
about.
crazy.
And it's all about, he's a great self-promoter, but the guy is a brilliant offensive mind, and they're going to win. They're not going to win the Pac-12 every year or anything like that, but they're going to be consistently a bowl team because that's what he does.
Nice. And that's surprising. I mean, how did Washington State, and Jerry, I got to let you know, I went to Washington State, so I got a little love affair going on with these guys. But, how did Washington State land?
And you're wearing purple today.
And I got my purple on today. Man.
You're confused. You got the husky in you now.
Sometimes, you go through those confusions when you dress. You know what I'm saying? But, how did Wazoo land such a big name like that, man?
Well, Mike Leach got fired
Right.
2 years ago from Texas Tech over Craig James, the ESPN announcer's
Your boy.
son. Basically, accused him of locking him in a
Steam box, right?
yeah, just basically in like a broom closet and not letting him out because he had a concussion. A lot of those accusations have been proven to be iffy at best.
Sure.
Probably not true. And it was kind of a conspiracy to get Mike out because Leach is a big time personality. He's very difficult to deal with. He wants it his way. So he 10 seasons there is enough for a guy, and he kind of overstayed his welcome, I think.
Probably a couple of years too long.
So, and then with him, he's not looking – Mike Leach would be terrible here in Seattle coaching the University of Washington. He would be very bad at USC in Los Angeles. He needs to be the big fish in a small pond.
Right.
And that's what the opportunity is in Pullman. And – if he does something crazy, they'll forgive him a little more easily.
Sure.
Where in Seattle, it would be an issue that we would be debating for the entire week.
Right.
And so he's kind of a mad scientist. And in a small place, you can be a mad scientist.
Yeah, the pirate, they call him. In Washington State, they definitely do forgive people. I mean, they were chanting Mike Price. They were wanting Mike Price to come back after his failings in Bama land. And they definitely would give him more room and more ability to continue to lose or maybe gain a little bit. But, I mean, is there a lot of pressure now on Mike to just get to the next level quickly? I mean, you were saying in your article, like, hey, this could happen like this year. They could get to a bowl game.
I think 6-6 is very realistic. Now, I got smashed against BYU. I thought they would at least score some points against them. I didn't expect them to win.
Right.
That gave you an indication of how difficult it's going to be to get that team,
Sure.
which he inherited. I think they were 9-40 or something.
Yep.
In their previous 49 games before that.
Right.
So it's going to take a while for him to get them to believing. But they've got 3 games that are manageable to easy coming up. That will get their confidence up. And you get 3 victories, you're 3-1.
You're right there.
You're halfway home.
Right.
And, I think there's a lot of pressure on him because their offense is set up. They had a good offense last year. They
did.
scored 29 points a game, had a 420 yards a game. And he's an offensive guru. So they're set up to be an offense that could score a lot of points.
Sure.
There's a lot of pressure on him to do that, but his offensive philosophy is different than the one they had. And it's going to take some time for them to get it right. They have to get it right within the next 3 weeks in order for them to have the kind of season that a lot of people think. Even if Paul Wolf was still here, people would have been expecting them to get to 6-6. Mike Leach needs to get to 6-6.
Pressure's on Mike Leach then. I mean, is it a failed season then if Mike Leach doesn't get to the bowl in his first year? I mean,
I don't think it would be a failed season. I mean, Cougar fans are willing to be patient. I mean,
Sure.
they've had to go through a lot. But I think in terms of the way the national media looks at it, they would be surprised because Mike Leach, it's like 10 for 10 in getting teams to bowls.
Right.
That's what he does better than anything. And the Cougs don't have an impossible schedule. So
No.
I'd be surprised if he can't figure out a way to get 6 wins in there.
I think so. I mean, I think they got a great shot at it. And you're right. With the schedule coming up the next 3 games, Washington State definitely has a shot. And you talk a lot about, when you're talking Mike Leach in your article, you talk about the competitiveness, be able to sustain success. I mean, is 10 years what we're talking about with Mike Leach at Washington State? Is it going to be that kind of success, that kind of longevity there at Washington State before he moves on?
A lot of people have this feeling that he'll bounce out once he realizes how difficult it is. You're talking about one of the most remote BCS schools in the nation. Just traveling somewhere is a big ordeal out of Pullman.
Yep.
It's not an easy job, but I think Mike Leach is 51 years old. He's from Wyoming. He does not mind Pullman at all. He likes it. He's a different kind of guy. I do think he's going to be there at least 6, 7, 8 years. We'll see. I mean, 10 is a long time for any coach nowadays, but we don't know what opportunities are going to come his way. But he's making $2.25 million in Pullman. There's a lot of, you could buy a lot of toy pirates for $2.25 million.
We all had to do a fundraiser a few times over to get him to come, that's for sure. Let's talk about, let's dream a little bit about Washington State and Mike Leach. And how long till we win the Pac-12?
Well, that's the big concern.
I mean,
when I say a level of sustained success, I don't tell you a high level. I don't tell you they're going to be USC or Oregon or even Stanford the last couple of years. He's going to be the master of getting them 7-5, 6-6, 8-4. He'll probably build one team that's capable of competing at a championship level.
Sure.
He did that once at Texas Tech. That's the question with Mike Leach. Can he get them to that ultimate level?
Right.
And that's hard.
It's very tough.
He's going to have a better defense. His offense is going to have to play off of the defense better. That's the big question with him. He's going to be fun for. They'll score 40 points and get 500 yards on anybody.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that they're going to be able to win against USC on the road.
Nice. And I think this. I mean, I think as a Washington State Cougar, a big fan, I believe this. If he goes 8-4, people are ecstatic. People are going to praise him for a long time, especially now. I mean, how the Pac-12 is set up. So I like Mike Leach. It'll be fun to see. The fan base is excited. Ticket sales are at a record rate. And they got a new stadium. They just rebuilt the back I think the one alumni side of it got rebuilt this offseason. So it'll be a good time. Let's move forward a little bit. Let's talk about Husky Land. UW's down there and playing LSU this weekend. Big stuff. National television. Big game. How are they going to do?
That's going to be a tough one for the Huskies. They just don't have the level of physicality and depth that it takes to go down to an LSU and win unless LSU is off their game.
Sure.
They're going to need a little bit of luck and a bit of bad play from LSU in order to do it. I think this is likely going to be a game that they lose 38-7, 38-14. And then you're starting to wonder with the Huskies, when are they going to get to the point where they go and play a top 5 team and they don't get their butts kicked?
Exactly, because that's my next question. I mean, doesn't Sark need at some point in time take a team to the next level? I mean, isn't that why we brought him here?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's his motto this year: take the next step.
Right.
I think that this year might be the last year of feeling like there's a ceiling on the expectations for this team. If they get enough things done this year, I think you could see a 10-win, top 12 or 15 Husky team next season.
Because Keith Price is a junior this year?
He's a junior, and then his 2 primary weapons, Kason Williams, Austin Safarian-Jenkins, they're both sophomores. Next year is really that year. Keith Price would be a senior.
Right.
And then you've got these 2 guys that are likely going to be high, top 2 or 3 round NFL picks as juniors, likely to come out. And they're going to have a lot more experience on defense as well. They're making their push.
Right.
They spent a lot of money getting rid of Nick Holt and his entire defensive philosophy and bringing in new guys.
Right.
They went and got Tosh Lupoy from Cal, who is, if he's not the best recruiter in the country, he's the best 2 or 3.
Right.
And this is their time. I mean, I think if Sark is going to get it done at Washington, these next 4 years, we need to see up.
Because the pressure's on them just a little bit, don't you think? I mean, I talked to my loyal Husky alums, and they're not excited as much as they were a couple years ago.
Well, one thing about Husky fans, they understand the situation. They understand everything from the Tyrone Willingham era and Keith Gilbertson and, even going back to Rick Neuheisel's sins. They know that it's going to take a while to get it right. They want to stay behind Sarkisian, but then there's still that part of the Husky fans that feel like 21 years haven't passed since 1991. And why can't we have a team with Steve Ittman anymore? And why can't we build a dominant defense?
Right.
And why can't we go out and be capable of winning at LSU or Michigan or anywhere? And that's starting to come back. That arrogance is starting to slowly trickle in. And I think this is the last year that they're going to be able to deal with getting smashed by the elite teams in the country.
Sure. Well, I mean, I agree with you. It's now been a couple of years, and these next 3 to 4 are going to be very important for University of Washington Coach Sark. Let's talk about football here on the Jopra Show with my man Jerry Brewer and breaking it down, and we're going to move over to the pro team. We're going to talk about our beloved Seahawks, and I know you got to shoot down to Arizona this weekend, hang out, relax. And, I heard, it's a little break from the family, and so you're going to have a few days away. And Jerry, I mean, what are you going to do? There's no babies, no mamas. Outside of watching the football game, is there going to be a little relaxation time? I mean, I know you haven't had a chance to get any sleep in 14 weeks. I mean,
Go get your nails done.
Go get your nails done. I mean, what's Jerry Brewer going to do while he's down in Arizona just to sort of have a little, I always like to say downtime or me time?
Yeah, there's there's a balance here.
All right.
You know, I know there's going to be a beer sitting in front of me and some football games, but there can't be too much football and too much beer, especially the latter.
I got you.
Because then I'm not going to be able to get the rest that I need to get in order to be fresh. So I can't go too crazy. I have to kind of restrain myself a little bit, but I am going to enjoy those first 24 hours of just kind of being able to be me.
I got you.
And then the next day is going to be all about grinding, working the Seahawks game, and probably about 3 o'clock on Sunday, that's when I'll really miss being home and want to go back and hold my son.
I got you.
Kiss my wife.
That's how it is. And is there a bar down in Arizona? If I was down there, where would I find Jerry hanging out? I know you got your spots.
I do have one spot in Tempe, Arizona called Boston's. It's really close to Arizona State University. Like the food there. The beer is great. They got great TVs. So that's where I'm going to be relaxing, watching that Huskies game. And, depending on how good of a game that is, we'll see how much I drink.
How many beers are down?
I tell you, it's going to be hot down there. Going to be hot. Well, let's segue into the Seahawks. And, there's a lot going on this year. This is Pete Carroll's time now. It's coming now. We've been waiting a while to get to this moment where the Hawks are right on the bubble. They're on the crest. And all of a sudden, we get a guy named Matt Flynn coming. People are thinking, wow, we've made the big-time move to get a quarterback. We paid $10 million to get him here. Got him out of Green Bay. One of Snyder's boys, and now people are really thinking like, whoa, this is it. We're going to go out and get the West and maybe go further. And then all of a sudden, this young kid from Wisconsin comes out of nowhere, gets hit in the third round, comes to Seattle, and puts on a little bit of a clinic. Tell me about what you think about Russell Wilson starting for the Seattle Seahawks as a rook.
The word that always comes to mind with Russell Wilson is electric. I know he's a rookie. I know he's only 5'11", and I say he's 5'11". A lot of people say he's 5'10" and 5'8".
Right.
The man is short. Okay, can we give him that extra 3/8 of an inch and round up to 5'11"?
Why can't we say 5'11"?
He's 5'11". He does not throw the football like he's a small guy. I mean, he zips
he goes
it in
over the
there
top.
like he's 6'5", 220 pounds. I mean, he's got a lot of velocity. He's very accurate. He is a great leader. If Russell Wilson makes it, he will become one of the biggest stars that we've seen in Seattle sports and since Griffey left the first time.
Wow.
I truly believe that. I mean, he is that. I mean,
I got goosebumps.
He could be bigger than any Seahawks player maybe since Largent. I mean, that's that. I mean, when you talk about the anomaly of being that small and that good, if he makes it, if he gets to the point where he can play at a Pro Bowl level,
right,
he will be that big. And the nation is already intrigued by the kid.
Yeah.
Sports Illustrated last week spent an entire day with him. If they win this game against Arizona, he'll likely, get a big magazine piece in Sports Illustrated. This kid, I mean, the Seahawks are really sitting on something. I think they kind of got lucky and found something special in the third round.
Right.
More so than luck, let's give Schneider some credit for capitalizing on that opportunity. A lot of guys didn't want to pull the trigger on a guy that's short. Schneider said, you know what? There's something about this kid that I like.
That and that was sort of the whole story. Because back in May, when the coach from Wisconsin was on radio talking with Softy Mahler, he says, do not be surprised as a rookie if he starts for your Seahawks. And here we are today. I tell you this, I'm with you. I can't stop watching TV. If he's on TV, I'm watching right now. Because it seems like has that magic and that special way of making something happen. And I think it's going to be exciting for us. I mean, is it fair to say if we don't make the playoffs, would Russell Wilson be the blame?
I think there's a good chance. I mean, I think let's just say the offense would be to blame.
Right.
Something would have to go wrong. Either they're not able to run the football as well as they ran in the second half of last season, or the quarterback play is lacking. The other way that they might not qualify is they could be a good team and win 9 or 10 games, and then they wind up, all of a sudden you get caught in a numbers game with the Saints, or there's probably about 8 or 9 teams in the NFC that really think they legitimately have a chance.
Sure.
But only 6 are going to get in. And I think this is one of those years where someone with a winning record, a couple someones, are not going to make the playoffs. The Seahawks have to make sure that they're not in that mix. Dominant defense. Their defense could wind up being one of the top 5 in the NFL. The only thing that's going to hold them back is they play Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady.
Tough home schedule.
They got a tough schedule.
And they got a tough schedule, and they play some elite quarterbacks.
Right.
And when you look at this season, it is going to come down to, can Russell Wilson be functional enough for their defense to take over and give them that ultimate advantage?
Sure.
And it's the perfect setup for the Seahawks. Seahawks have been searching for years for the right replacement for Matt Hasselbeck. Now I think they finally have a healthy situation. Russell Wilson, if Russell Wilson, for some reason, as a rookie, just isn't quite ready, Matt Flynn is a starting quarterback in the NFL. He didn't lose this job.
No.
Russell Wilson won
the job. And, and that's the thing. And the one thing I look about the schedule is that we got Tom Brady at home. We got Aaron Rodgers at home. I mean, we got Mark Sanchez at home. And we got Kristen Ponder at home. We got all these great elite quarterbacks at home. And one thing great about that defense, when they're at home,
the one thing, though, that I'm always concerned about, when you play the bulk of your tough games at home and you don't win them, then it puts so much pressure on you to go on the road and win games. And we know the Seahawks, they've gotten better at pulling off some surprises in the Pete Carroll era on the road, but they're still not a good road team.
No,
they got to make some of the longest trips in the NFL. They got to go all the way to Miami this year.
They got to go to Buffalo
this year. That's never fun. I mean, they're playing that game in Toronto. So, I mean, their travel schedule, I mean, they're going to, again, be probably the biggest frequent flyer in the NFL. So it would be nice if a couple of those games that are tough games at home were actually on the road, I think.
Okay.
Because when you're expected to lose games on the road, you're not losing any ground. When you lose games at home, you're always losing momentum. And a huge key to the Seahawks season, you got to finish at least 6-2 at CenturyLink Field.
Got to. It's a must.
It's a must because
it's a must.
And then you're asking the team to be 4-4 or 3-5 on the road to have a winning record.
Right, and we saw how well Dallas played last night, so it's not going to be easy, just right off the bat. That Cowboy game's going to be tough.
No, exactly. I mean, I think this is a really good NFC this year.
I like it. Well, and I think this. I'm excited. I think that ticket sales are through the roof. You can't find tickets.
You can't get
any tickets. So it's going to be a big year for the Seahawks. And, this is the time. This is why we brought Pete Carroll in. And with the move for a rook, it's very exciting at quarterback. And I personally, and I know a lot of sports fans in Seattle, are really eyeing the Hawks this year. The Hawks.
There is no pressure on any sports figure in Seattle greater than the pressure that Pete Carroll has right now. He pretends like he doesn't feel it, but he feels it.
It. But then he put himself in that position, though.
He needs to get this done. He's put himself in a position. People don't give him enough credit for tearing that entire team apart, putting it back together, making it young, athletic, and good. And they only did that in 2 seasons. And they actually made the playoffs in one of those seasons. So what they have done over 2 years is remarkable. Now you get to the part where the team is ready. People are excited. They're not quite ready to be outstanding, but they can be good. But it's not going to be an easy road for them.
No.
But they have to get it done.
Yeah.
Everything has to be tighter. Pete has made some mistakes as a coach managing games. He cannot do that.
No.
The quarterbacks, you know how many games Tavares Jackson lost in the fourth quarter last year by not being able to make plays. Russell Wilson has to be able to do that.
They got to make plays.
They're going to be, because of the way they're built, they're going to be in a lot of games that come down to the fourth quarter.
Sure.
And if, say, 8 of those games are that way, can they finish 5-3 in those games?
Right.
If they finish 3-5 in those games, it's going to be a disappointing season, and everybody's going to be wondering, is Pete going to be fired next year?
How much time does Pete got?
He's got at least as long as this year isn't a disaster, he'll have through next year. And I think he's going to get this thing going. I think that we're going to look in 2016 and say the Pete Carroll era has been very good for the Seahawks.
No, I think so. I mean, he having to build it and rebuild it and get it going, I think so for sure. So I think by 2016 we could be surprised by a lot of things. And you know what? Don't be surprised if we get another shot at going to the Super Bowl because it's there. But things got to happen to make forward. Let's move quickly back over to one big question. You and I talked about it before we came on there, and that's about our beloved Sonics and about them getting back. And, I'm going to ask you just a straight question. Are we going to have a basketball team next year or in the next 2 years? before the arena even gets through? Could we have a basketball team?
I would say unlikely that we're going to get it that soon.
Mm-hmm.
Everything would have to go Seattle's way, and we need to, put ourselves in a position to possibly having a shot at that.
Sure.
I mean, right now, we're not even close enough to take that shot. In the next 10 days, I believe the city council is going to approve an amended MOU that's going to allow Chris Hansen to go out and start shopping for teams.
Right. And
if he's able to do that, and if the Sacramento Kings cannot be saved in Sacramento, I think there is a 75% chance that they could move to Seattle. If the Kings situation doesn't work out, then we might be waiting for 2, 3, 4 years to figure out a situation where an NBA team can come back here. There's no question, for people who don't like David Stern, and you have plenty of reason not to, but David Stern, from everything that I've heard, he does not want stripping Seattle of the Sonics to stay on his legacy as he considers retirement. He wants to get this thing done. The NBA's TV contract is coming up in a couple of years. They need to get back in the number 13 market, so they have incentive to get that done. There's a lot of millions of dollars riding on that. David Stern's always wanted Steve Ballmer, who's part of Chris Hansen's ownership group, to be in the NBA because Ballmer would be the richest owner in the NBA, even though he would be a minority owner. There's a lot of reasons that this thing should happen. And if Seattle gets its act together, there is no doubt in my mind that if we want to build an arena and we have a solid plan, the NBA is going to come here and the NHL is going to rush to come here.
Rush to get here.
And so we could be looking at a scenario where in 2015 we've got it all.
Everything.
And who would imagine that would have happened after that dark day, July 2nd, 2008, when the city caved and allowed the Sonics to leave?
You got to bring that up, didn't you? Now we go way back. I tell you this, though, and you brought up a good point. Are we going to get in our own way? I mean, I've been in Seattle my whole life, and politically we tend to do that once in a while. I mean, is Seattle going to get in the way, or are they going to get smart and just go, listen, Chris, do what you got to do? Here's the green light.
Even after the city council approves it, it's not over. There's still going to be a lot of fights, but there's going to be a lot more incentive to get this thing done.
Right.
And so I think Seattle's going to continue to get in its own way, but this is a pretty powerful truck, and if it has to knock some people over, it's just going to knock them over.
Some people are going to get knocked over. So let's go forward. It's 2015, 2016. The new arena is about to open. First game of the season for the NBA. Seattle Supersonics are back, and they're playing who? OKC. Would the NBA have the first game nationally televised be OKC versus the Sonics?
No,
Wow.
I think they would
That
save.
would be
I think they would
war.
save that for Christmas.
Christmas?
I think they'd save it
Christmas
for
Day?
Christmas.
Ratings.
Because on Christmas there's more of a likelihood that Seattle sports fans won't trip, especially if it's the first game of the season, it's a new arena. That's a hostile environment.
Yeah.
Don't you want them though? I mean, listen, don't you want OKC day one?
Of course, as a competitor.
You're a competitive person.
Absolutely.
I am too. You want them walking through the door day one.
Of course, by then they might have a couple championships.
So be it. Let's just get it on. Because I tell you this, it's not going to rest until we get this thing off our back. And sometimes you got to go find the bully and kick them in the shins.
Yeah, the NBA doesn't. I'm not sure that they want to attach that narrative, like, oh, we stole the team. I mean, they want this thing, if the Seattle comes back, to be celebrated as the NBA is back in Seattle. I'm not sure they would want all of those ill feelings. But the flip side is how much money and how many TV ratings could that inspire?
Exactly.
And how many great stories could you write about that?
I mean, shoot. I think I would turn down any job to be able to write that story.
Let me give you a long shot before we go. And I thank Jerry Brewer to come in today on the Jopra Show. It's been great having you here, Jerry. Let me give you a long shot. He comes at the end of his career at 32 years old. He's won 4 world championships. He's considered the greatest offensive player in the league. And he's a free agent. And he wanted to finish up his career, and he wants to come back to Seattle. Do you see Kevin Durant, after winning the titles, doing everything at OKC, coming back and finishing in Seattle, just sort of showing some love?
I think he's got a lot of heart, a lot of love for Seattle. His heart will always be in the D.C. area.
Of course.
I could see him wanting at some point in his career to play for the Wizards so he could play at home. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of how's all that going to shake out,
Right.
I don't think that he would go directly from OKC back here.
Sure.
I think he would want to go home or somewhere on the East Coast. There'd be a lot of pressure for him to get the maximum amount of shoe dollars and endorsements, and playing on the East Coast is what is going to get you that.
Sure.
But I think if there is any way that Kevin Durant could do something to put a smile on the faces of the first people who supported him when he's in the NBA, he would do that. So, I mean, maybe not 32.
Right.
Maybe he'd be 36 with some bad knees.
Sure.
And but still capable of getting 18 a game.
And I can see you'll be in Sports Illustrated writing an article about Kevin Durant coming back to Seattle. Right?
It would be a tremendous storyline. And I would love it if the next time Kevin Durant is a free agent, Seattle's in a position to really scare the heck out of the Thunder.
Well, don't you think, Chris Hansen? I mean, the guy's a good talker. I mean, I've seen Chris work it already. I mean, I think if Kevin Durant got in a room with him, be hard to say no.
Especially with Steve Ballmer's money behind it.
You know what I'm talking
Chris
about?
Hansen's money, he'll have a lot of money.
He'll have a lot
too.
of money. Well, don't be surprised. Well, folks, we're just finishing up here with Jerry Brewer, man, coming in today. Thank you, Jerry, for joining us today. And just
pleasure.
breaking down sports and family life and hitting the road with the Seahawks. And, Jerry, man, we're going to have you back. We're going to give you more time, man, because I got a lot more to ask you. But we're going to go to break here on the Jopra Show. Coming up next, Lisa Martin and I are going to talk about dating. It's fall. It's time to find your snuggle bunny. And Lisa says she's got some things for the ladies they need to know here on the Jopra Show at 1150 KKNW AM.
If you love dogs, tune in to The Dog Show with Julie Forbes, live every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. We'll talk about everything dog and interview authors, experts, and amazing organizations, both locally and nationally. And don't even get me started on the pet food industry. I'm Julie Forbes. Find us online at www.dogradioshow.com and also as a free podcast on iTunes. The Dog Show with Julie Forbes, an evolved perspective on life with dogs.
Do you have legal questions? Need to know where to turn?
Hi, this is Rick Gregrick, your host of Northwest Legal Compass.
Northwest Legal Compass will address your questions on a variety of legal topics, including estate planning, asset protection, real estate and business planning, and more. The legal and accounting staff of Gregrick and Associates are dedicated to providing you with superior legal and tax services. Their integrated counsel is geared to the achievement of your goals.
Visit us on the web at rjglegal.com.
Be sure and tune in every Friday at noon here on Alternative Talk 1150.
There's an exciting new astrology hour, Tuesdays at 5 p.m. with Deborah Silverman. Deborah's unique blend of psychology and astrology turns planetary language into plain English. Join us for an interactive hour that's guaranteed to give you personal insights in a fun and entertaining way. Tune in to Deborah Silverman live. Whatever your life question, marriage, job, family, relocation, or just curiosity, call for a live reading Tuesdays at 5 p.m. and visit Deborah's website at deborahsilvermanastrology.com.
Conversations Live with Vicki St. Clair discusses issues that are important to you, like good health and well-being, finding a new job and building your business, overcoming life's big challenges and making sense out of chaos, and living with passion and joy. Join us Mondays at noon Pacific for Conversations Live with Vicki St. Clair. See conversationslive.net for show schedule and guest information. Gather up your friends, kids, and favorite canine companions and join Alternative Talk 1150 at the 21st anniversary of Paws Walk, Saturday, September 8th at Marymore Park in Redmond. There's a 5K walk through a beautiful park, a kids zone, agility demonstrations, fly ball demos, shopping, contests, and lots of free samples. Your participation benefits Paws and will help save the lives of animals in the community. Be sure to stop by the KKNW table and say hello while you're there. That's the 21st anniversary of Paws Walk, Saturday, September 8th at Marymore Park.
Listen live at 1150kknw.com. Alternative Talk, 1150 AM.
Welcome back to the Jopra Show. Joe Janelle here in studio with Lisa Martin and the main man, Eric Ryder. We just finished up with Jerry Brewer from the Seattle Times. And boy, he was
a good guy.
He was straight getting down.
Love him.
And I could sit for hours with him and just listen because he just has knowledge. Great sports knowledge. Good guy. Good guy. Well, folks, coming up, I found a couple events I wanted to give you guys a heads up on. It's something unique. You know, at the Jopra Show, I'm always searching for just sort of fun, different beats. And, you know, I found this event going on at the Blue Moon Tavern coming up on the 23rd. And it's called Opera on Tap.
Blue Moon
Tavern, up there on 45th University Street.
Yeah.
And it's called Opera on Tap. And it's where local opera people come and perform sort of fun chick concerts in these taverns.
They used to do that at the old Sorry Charlie's.
Right. And so on the 22nd, on the 23rd of September, they are up at the Blue Moon Tavern, and it's a nonprofit organization who they put together to break sort of the stereotype of opera, and they're going to do Opera on Tap. And it's sort of fun, comedy-like, full opera singers, and I want you to check it out. It's going to be at the Blue Moon, the 23rd. I put it up on my Facebook page on the Jopra Show. So if you want to find out the information, it's called Opera on Tap. And also if you want to go to their website, it's operaontap.org. So check it out. I think it's going to be really good. I'm going to try to stop by there, check it out, and hear me a little opera.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, a little get down going on.
Get your season.
Yeah. And if you can't make the 23rd, on the 24th, they're going to be at Connor Burns doing a theme like I'd Like to Tap That. And then...
I'd like to tap that.
Speaking of I Like to Tap That, we're going to segue right there.
It's the fall time.
It is the fall time. Also going on, you know, I was downtown, and my homeboy gave me a call. Goes, Joe, cheesesteak. I'm like, what do you mean cheesesteak? He goes, there's a new cheesesteak place. So there's a place called Philly Boys Cheesesteak. It's down on 4th Avenue in Lesotho. So I went down there. You know, I jopered it up a little bit, just sort of walked around, did the scene, had itty bitty with me. We're just sort of getting the look. And I had a cheesesteak sandwich, and it was quite delicious.
So is it like melted cheese or like cheese whiz cheese?
He put the cheese right on the top.
Yeah.
And so I had American white cheddar. I told him to choose.
So the real deal.
It was really good. It was a good sized sandwich for $8. You get some fries for $3, and it was quite delicious.
I love Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, it's an old automotive place which they gutted, and I guess up front is the Philly cheesesteak place, and in the back is this massive commissary. It's huge. So I guess all these food truck people use it as a commissary. But it's called Philly Boys Cheesesteak. It's down on 4th Avenue, and you need to go check it out. It's right in the Soto. It's at 3201 4th Avenue South, and Jopra approves it. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. And so, you know, go check it out.
Jopra approved.
It's been approved, ladies and gentlemen. And so on the Jopra Show, you know, we're going to be looking for little things. So if you see something that's sort of unique or fun, go to my Facebook at Jopra Show and send it to me. 'Cause I'm going to check it out. I'm just sort of been looking around, and it was a good cheesesteak. But on top of that, and, you know, a little segue to I Like to Tap That. My girl Lisa Martin and I were sitting around having a cold beverage last week, and we were talking about fall. And I had no idea that women sort of changed their game, as you may want to say, right, Lisa? Mm-hmm. About how you start, you know, summer's over. Get your sun, get your tan lines has come to an end. And now it's time to find, as you said, a snuggle bunny.
Yeah.
Lisa, give me more. Tell my listeners, what do you mean by all this?
You want to find a regular person to hang out with.
Now, is it like somebody you want to go on dates with, or just somebody to keep the bed warm? I mean, I need to know how far this goes.
I think there's a variety there. I think you do want somebody to date with, but you do also want somebody you can lay at home on a Sunday, order pizza, and watch a football game with, and, you know, roll into things.
I see. And so now with things changing, we know how this is going, right, Eric? I mean, we know what's happening here.
There's no more walks around Green Lake anymore.
I mean, Eric, do you feel, is it really true that the whole fall brings out the snuggle bunny in everybody?
Yeah, I think so.
All right,
that makes sense.
You know, we need some calls in. Give me a call at 425-373-5527. If you're one of those people who believes that fall time is snuggle bunny time. I mean, now how far does this go? I mean, do you actually, talk to a person, talk to a guy and go, hey, how would you like to be my winter snuggle bunny?
My winter snuggle bunny. No, I think it's somebody you actually find the connection with that we were talking about weeks ago. You know, somebody that you can go out and enjoy being with, can have fun conversation if you take a nap or, you know.
Do you write on his hand, be my snuggle bunny?
I'm not doing that one again. I've done that twice now.
No, that's not working.
No, the first time it worked.
Okay.
Second time it didn't.
All right. Well, we'll talk about the first time later.
50-50.
It's a 50-50.
But I mean, I've heard about the snuggle bunny. I mean, we talk about that, my wife and I. Let's go snuggle.
Well, when you and your wife started dating, wasn't there like snuggle, like fall time, football, basketball, college basketball games, laying on the couch?
You know my wife. She doesn't slow down. For me to get her, I got to get some duct tape and some rope. You know what I'm saying?
She's like itty bitty running
running around. So that's a whole other story. But I mean, Lisa, so then do girls, honestly, I mean, is that sort of like your guys' girl conversations when you're having dinner together? Like, hey, I need to find me a warm something for the winter?
I think everybody wants to find a warm something, but yeah, I think girls do.
I know guys don't even talk about. We're talking football, fantasy
it's not like
football.
we sit down and we're like, all right, so I went on out with this guy the other night, and he's like the perfect guy to be the snuggle bunny. But it is a conversation that during the wintertime, because it's like holiday parties and things like that, you don't want to be the girl that keeps showing up alone. You want somebody to take with you. You want somebody that you have fun with. You have somebody
Eric, the old I need a date part. I need to go with the cocktail party lady.
It's like going to the summertime weddings. You don't mind going alone because, you're in a cute little dress. And summertime, you get in the wintertime, you're like cocktails. I'm cold. Warm me up.
So, a guy. So I take it guys stand a better chance in your mind in the fall than they would during the summertime. Because during the summer, you're like, I got options.
In the wintertime, I'm kind of like,
it's like, okay,
so
I definitely want to be taken care of more in the winter.
Is there a date that the snuggle effect begins? Is it like when it starts raining in Seattle again or gets cold? I mean, it's because it's still 80 degrees out.
When you officially let them stay over and have breakfast.
That's when the snuggle.
That's when you can start seeing if you can push that envelope.
Okay, well, I mean,
because there's a lot of times you stay the night and you're like, all right, this has been fun. I'll talk to you later, and you roll out.
Oh, okay. So, but I mean,
if I'm sticking around still and it's 11 in the morning and I'm still in bed, we're gonna hang out, watch a game. We're gonna lay here, laugh.
How do you know you got a good snuggle bunny?
Comfort.
Like what kind of comfort? Like is he making breakfast or like he's saying, hey, how you doing? Having a conversation. Here's 50 Shades of Grey.
And if
I'll be right back.
If I'm okay with getting up, walking out of the bed and not getting fully dressed.
Right? I mean, if he gives you a dress shirt, you're wear this around the house.
See, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then there's some criterias.
There's comfort levels.
There's levels of expectations.
There's comfort levels.
Comfort levels. Okay. So then what's uncomfortable comfort levels? Like, does he get on a text and starts texting his old girlfriend while you're sitting next to him?
Yeah, that's a peace out, homie. Guts to roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess now it's snuggle time. So then, does that mean also when there's snuggle, the big clothes come back? Because it seems like in Seattle,
it doesn't always have to be snuggle. Let's put it to you like that. It can be like we're both sitting on the couch watching a football game and hanging out and making conversation, eating chips and dip and having beer. Like it doesn't always have to be like one arm around me, one arm laying sideways, halfway, watching TV. Mm-hmm. It's just having somebody to enjoy the time and the game and the day with.
If you are interested in snuggling, you need to give us a call at 425-373-5527 because Eric and I are in sort of like a little bit of shock right now. This is all new to us. And Lisa Martin, the Queen, is here telling us today on the Jopra Show that snuggling is in.
Snuggling's a good thing.
This is a good thing. And how about to go about that? So now listen. If I'm a young lady who maybe is not big into finding the right person to snuggle, how would I go about finding me a good winter companionship or snuggle bunny?
Finding it.
How would I go? I mean,
I don't think it's something you find. I think it's just something that rolls.
I mean, do I got to go through a lot of late night get-togethers to find the right one? I don't have time for all that. I'm busy. I'm at Amazon working 70 hours a week.
Has time to do that. I think you just find the right person that makes you laugh, that makes you comfortable in your own skin and who you are.
How long does a snuggle bunny get to stay around? I mean, because does it come back like spring? You got to go because it's getting sunny out. I got to go to Vegas.
That's all. Like you can't put a time on things like that. Sometimes they might end up being there for a couple of years. Sometimes they might only work a couple of weekends and then out you go, but at least you had a couple weekends.
Okay. Now, let's just talk about time-wise in the calendar. Is December the most important time to have a snuggle bunny or have a compelling partner? Because you got cocktail parties and events and New Year's Eve, and there's a lot of kissing going on at that time, a lot of passion.
I think it's a fun time to have somebody. I think it's a fun time, too, to get to know somebody. Like, you're going to parties, you're having things, they're interacting with your friends, you're interacting with their friends, seeing how everything works out. I think that it's a good time to get to know somebody, see if that's somebody you want to make it past the 90-day rule, or if it's just somebody that fits in for the month and don't have to worry about buying a Christmas gift for.
Oh, dang. And let me ask you, well, say you meet a guy right before Thanksgiving. Does he get to come over for Thanksgiving dinner? Say it's been like we've been snuggling for 2 weeks. Does he get the invite for? No. Doesn't get to see Mom and Pa. No cocktails. Okay. I just need to know how far the snuggling thing goes.
Now, family to me, my family and I are very tight and very close. And, this is a funny subject to talk about. We were talking about this a few weeks ago, just about the different people there's 3 sisters, so myself and 2 younger sisters, of the different men that we've brought home. And between the 3 of us and our whole existence of dating and everything, a total between all of us, we've brought home 6 guys. So, I mean,
not many people get to get back to the family.
Not too many people get to spend that quality time with us.
Okay.
And the family.
All right, I got you. All right, so I guess now this time we're going into the fall. I got to start looking around. I'll be at the bar checking people and just seeing if the snuggling.
Who's got the eye and who doesn't.
Who's got the eye on each other? Eric's going to be down in T-Town walking the cat going, who's at the coffee shop?
For the cat.
Who's at the coffee shop trying to create a good snuggle person?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask my wife these questions tonight. I need to know more. I'm just curious if all the ladies sit around and talk about this, but that's maybe another show we can go forward with. But, I tell you this. What if a guy says, I want you to be my snuggle bunny? And what if he's saying, I'm looking for a snuggle bunny? Would that just throw your game right off?
Yeah.
I mean, would it just put you into a dead silence?
Yeah, just like that.
Run?
I don't know if I'd run. I'd be curious, that's for sure.
Is that too sensitive for a guy to say, I need a snuggle bunny?
I think so. I don't think I've ever heard a guy be like, so you want to be my snuggle bunny for the winter?
But why not? Why can't a guy say that?
I think it'd be fun if a guy would be like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to snuggle with. You want to snuggle? But it's not a normal guy thing. Would you have said that? Eric,
sure,
would you have said that?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I would. I'm okay with myself. I'm sensitive. I can be that way.
I'll tell you why, because generally when I get involved with somebody, I don't think of it as like, oh, this is going to be a seasonal thing. I think like, long term. Yeah, long term. Yeah. So, but maybe that's the thing to try.
Well, see,
maybe that's the thing. Just let's put a limitation on this. And hey, if it's still going great in the spring,
it's the 90-day rule.
Right.
So the cuddle bunny is the 90 days.
What's the 90-day rule?
I think everybody after the first 90 days of every relationship, friendship, whatever relationship
That's still working.
The first 90 days is where you kind of get to really know somebody. You know their quirks, their personalities, what they laugh at. After the 90 days, I think you start to drop your bricks off the wall one by one. Like whether it's peeing with the door open. Before his first 90 days, you don't do it. After that, you might get up in the middle of the night, you got to pee real quick. You leave the door open all of a sudden. Like some people don't.
Right.
I think after the 90 days, you see the next 30 days and see what little things start coming. If you make it past that, then you do look into the long term. You start thinking like, where's this going? Where do I want to go? The first 90 days of hanging out, you don't really like, oh my gosh, in 6 months we're going to move in together. You wait that first 3-month, 90-day period. After that, then you start wondering like, is this somebody I want to come to Thanksgiving?
Sure.
Is this somebody that I want to get to know my more personal side than what they do right now? 90
days, folks, here on the Jopra Show. 90 days is time. And then after that, the doors start swinging wide open. Well, that makes sense. I mean, I'll go with that.
Most products come with a 90-day warranty, so
right. Can I return it?
Why not the relationship rule?
Yeah, but okay.
The test run.
The test run, I think, is okay. So then, at 90 days, Lisa, let me ask you the question. Because I know you're going to tell me straight. You're the queen. Do you ask him, or does he ask you at the 90 days, where are we going?
Yeah, I think you should.
Well, who asks? Do you ask, or does he ask? Because I would say that most of the time, I think the woman tends to want to get that question out in the open, maybe at the 45-day mark.
I think also, too, you always know who's thinking more of where their future is going. So whether the girl or the guy, like the last guy I asked, I was like, so where's this going? Where is this heading? The guy before that asked me.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think too, it comes down to, as you
and
get
you're
older.
like, wait, what season it is?
I was like, wait,
is it summertime,
is this
spring,
spaghetti strap
springtime?
or is this sweater?
Am I going to
Is this
Vegas
bikini?
next week? Am I in Hawaii with my friends?
It's June, I think.
It's June.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
think
I'm
gonna
going
have
to
to
say we're
cut you
fine
loose.
right now. Hit me up after Labor Day.
You're
Right.
cutting loose after. Oh, wow. So, it's on the table today, folks, here on the Jopra Show.
I think after 90 days, it's a comfort level. If you both are feeling something's moving forward and good, it'll kind of just make its way. If not, 90 days is over.
Okay. So, Eric, we're both, in our deep relationship, so we know nothing about what 90 days is anymore.
Right.
Maybe I should write the next book. Instead of 50 Shades, it's 90 days.
90 days.
90 days. 90 days of gray area. 90 days of gray area.
Gray area. And 45 days of a snuggle.
Maybe
Snuggle
that could
bunny.
be the blog that we start. I'll start a
here we
blog,
go.
90 days.
90 days of gray in Seattle, people, here at the Jopra Show. Before we get out of here, though, do you really think, though, does it really matter what time of year is it, or are really people more aggressive in the fall?
No, I think it's just easier
It's just
to
why
say it that way.
Right. But
I think everybody, if you're single, you always got your radar and your question mark up out there.
Right.
You never know who's going to walk through the door.
Just seems like summertime people aren't dating as much. And then all of a sudden, boom, fall comes. Oh, I got a boyfriend. Where'd that come from?
People have better looking clothes, I think, in the fall than they do the rest of the year. So
Right.
maybe there's
In the
something
summertime, you're usually with groups and everything, so you're kind of getting to know somebody. And then
Right.
the fall time, it's not like you're going on a boat in the middle of October. So.
Don't you think it's a lot easier to be stylish when you're not like, oh, it's so hot today? Or,
Yeah.
Or
hair's
you're
in
like,
a
oh, I'm
ponytail.
freezing. Give me my parka. You know what I mean?
Get my black clothes on.
It's the time of year where you're like, I'm going to put on a fresh suit, going to look nice,
Right.
step
Girls
outside.
get their boots and their skirts
Right.
before it gets too cold and rainy.
Maybe there's something to that.
Yeah.
And people probably aren't in a rush. They get somewhere to have a drink, and they're like, I'm going to sit here for a while because it's raining outside.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rainy. It's kind of chilly.
The whole
so.
snuggle thing. That's how it's going to be. I get it, though, right?
Yeah.
I get it, though. But do guys get it? Do guys get this whole thing about the process, about the 90 days, or are they still missing the boat?
I think that's a tough one. I think they are. I think it just depends on your time of life, where you are, what mindset you're in.
Sure.
Girls are always, and I think women are more emotional. Women are always kind of looking at it that side. Men are more business orientated. So,
Sure.
Well,
because I just sometimes wonder. I don't know. I think that guys will say, hey, I'm down. Let's snuggle a little bit. But do they think about it in a 90-day format? Are they thinking like this could go through Christmas? I don't know. I think I got to bring back the crew of my men crew.
Your men crew?
My men crew. And we may have to talk about the fall breakdown and see where they lie. Because
I think men more think of like the literal moment where it is right now. Women, we think more of like where it's going to go, what could happen, where we want to.
Because I think like guys also will think like, oh, cool, I'll get meet some girl and we can go hit a couple football games.
Yeah, go have some beers, go watch some games,
yeah,
eat some chips.
She can put on a cute jersey and we can go watch the Hawks.
Yeah,
I got you. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. I don't know. I just think that somehow, some way, this has to develop and people need to understand the process a little bit better. Because I think once they do, then they get it. They get the snuggling point of the 90 days or they get the 45. So that then these things can be just sort of forward motion. Show almost needs to be a dating app. And it pops up, day 45. You need to ask her a certain question. Should there be a dating app, Eric? Should we make one?
Day 17 lingerie.
I don't know if people should live their lives based on the app, but I think that could be fun. Okay. I think that would be successful.
All right. Well, that's awesome.
We could
Thanks.
do that,
that's good stuff.
Millionaire matchmaker.
Right.
We could do the successful relationship app maker.
I'll make something like that. Well, folks, you've heard it here today. We've talked about snuggling, sports, Jerry Brewer, babies, and more on the Jopra Show. I got a couple things I wanted to announce. One, on my Facebook page at the Jopra Show, we are putting together a dating game that we're going to be holding live downtown Seattle coming soon, and we're going to be looking for contestants. So if you feel that you're single and would love to go on a date with somebody, I want you to send that to me at the Jopra Show on my Facebook page. Send me why you'd like to be on the dating game and send me a pic. I want to know who you are, all right? And we're going to go through the next 4 weeks going through applications to put together and assemble the dating game team. Because, you know, at the Jopra show, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to get people together. We gotta combine forces. So we're going to start the dating game. Me and Eric Ryder, the Queen, Lisa Martin will be there at the show. And I'm going to have a fabulous team of people, lots of prizes to give away. So more coming soon here on the Jopra show. This is Joe Janot, finishing up a beautiful day here at the Jopra show at KKNW 1150 AM. I want you to have a great weekend. Enjoy your time, and we'll see you next Thursday.
I really can't stay.
But baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
But baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has
been hoping that you'd drop in.
So very nice.
I'll hold your hands. They're just like
my mother will start to